Today, I want to talk about speaking and traveling the world free. And for many, many years, I have been now a public speaker. But I tell you, when it started off, I was a young lad of 18 years old, and I got this job in national parks. And the whole job was to be able to go in front of large groups and present. And so that was my job. I would go walking out in the national park, taking photographs. I was a photographer from teenage years and get to know the park. So then I would communicate. I was an interpreter. And the whole idea was that you would become a naturalist, know the area that you're talking about, explore the park, and talk about it. But I tell you, the first time, I had never spoken in public. And here I was, this very shy 18-year-old kid who was too afraid to put up his hand in class, basically. And I was thrust in front of an audience, a live audience of anywhere from 50 to 100 people. It was the most traumatic experience up until that point. So it's trial by fire to learn how to become a public speaker. But I think this is the best thing that's ever happened to me, because I literally travel the world for free, speaking to large audiences on cruise ships. So just checking out my notes. A lot of people think that being a presenter on YouTube is the same. Here I am, I'm in my garden, I'm talking to my GoPro and recording this, but it's not the same. If you've never experienced a live audience, you don't really know what it's like to get that energy. The energy is like electricity running through the audience, and it comes back big time in spades to the presenter, to the speaker up at the front. You know, one of the weirdest experiences I've ever had was on a ship during COVID, and just because COVID was on the ship and we had fear that would spread throughout the guests, they told me that all of the guests were asked to stay in their cabin rather than gathering in the big theater, because the theater holds 300-400 people, and it's often maxed out. And so they didn't want to have people in such close contact spreading the COVID. So they stayed in their cabins, and it was televised. So there I was standing on stage, and I had to act like I had a full audience to give that energy, without the audience there to give me the energy back. And it's the strangest thing. You can feel the difference. So I gave my entire 45-minute presentation to an audience. It was just my wife sitting there in an empty theater, but people were back in their cabins watching me on television. And many of the cruise lines, they'll actually record your presentation and make it available on the closed-circuit TV system in their cabins, which is great, because if they miss the live performance, then they can catch up later and see it at a future date. So being a YouTube presenter is not the same. So in order to become a cruise ship speaker, you have to have a live tape of being a presenter in front of a live audience. And this is a make it or break it kind of a deal. These days, if you don't have a performance tape where you can show that you're a competent public speaker, it's very difficult to get onto the ships. So if you find an agent, and I'll be telling people about a website that you can access, the idea is that you have the experience of being a public presenter. Now, one of the easiest ways to do this is to join Toastmasters. And I was a member of Toastmasters for many years. And I think really it was a large degree of my success. I had spoken on in national parks for, 12, 15 years before I joined Toastmasters. But then when I moved to Victoria, I joined Toastmasters. And the great thing is, about Toastmasters, is the structure is set up so that you have evaluation. And it's very difficult to get impartial evaluation if you're a public speaker. Because most people in the audience, if you ask them, how did it go, they'll basically tell you, well, yeah, that was great. Loved it. But in Toastmasters, there's an evaluator assigned to each presentation. And he uses what I think of as a sandwich technique. But in the middle of the sandwich technique, in the middle, there's the meat. And this is the critical part. And it's going to tell you the feedback will be critical to some degree, but very, very helpful, because this is how you grow yourself, your experience, your abilities are so important to be able to practice this in front of a live audience. So I really highly recommend joining Toastmasters or whatever there is that's near you that is equivalent, so you can get practice in front of a live audience, and then make sure that you start taping your presentations. Maybe not the first 5 or 6, but once you get some experience, that's going to be gold to have that. It's like your portfolio as a public speaker. Okay, I'll be probably off on a cruise by the time you get to see this. Take care and all the best.